Good morning. It is Wednesday, January 14th. Thanks for joining us here on the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller, broadcasting from the 13 News Now studios, serving Southeast Virginia and Northeast North Carolina. If you're watching from around the country or maybe somewhere around the world, we refer to our area as Hampton Roads. It's where a bunch of waters come together, and it's historically been referred to as Hampton Roads. Again, Southeast Virginia and Northeast North Carolina. We talk about not only our weather here locally, but weather around the world, and we've got a couple of space-related stories to share with you as well today. We're also going to talk some climate a little bit later on. We got the ranking for 2025, where we wound up in terms of average temperature, so we'll share that with you. But today we are also going to talk about a couple of systems that are going to bring some significant impacts and significant changes to the Hampton Roads area. And we're going to start with that colder weather coming tomorrow to Hampton Roads, significantly colder, and the next couple of days really chilly. We get a little bump in temps on Saturday, and then more very cold weather for Sunday. That's not all for Sunday. Stay tuned. All right, we've got another icy rescue that was captured on video. Man rescued from a lake. We'll show you that. And there is just an adorable canine pup that is in training to become an avalanche rescue dog, and it's really cool, some of the things they're doing. So we'll share that story with you if you missed it earlier. ABC did a great story with David Muir showing and kind of highlighting some of the training things that dog is going through. As we take a look here, we've got a new study on the moon and the relationship with Earth. Come to find out, the moon's been taking from Earth. We know the moon influences things like the tides here with the gravitational pull, and you think about that, but have you ever thought about what the Earth gives back to the moon? We'll show you what the new study revealed. Crew 11, the ISS space crew, bringing back to Earth early. They ended that crew because one of the members had a medical issue, and we're going to update you on how that is looking and when they're expected to return. We also have that update on the global temperature average for 2025 and how the planet's temperature is now ranking all time. Then we're going to talk about Sunday and the chances for more snow here in Hampton Roads. I'll show you what the models are showing and how the trends are changing a little bit. I will tell you, I bumped up the snow chances a little bit. So if you are watching from Southeast Virginia or Northeast North Carolina, stay tuned for a lot more on that coming up. First thing we're going to talk about, though, what we're tracking in the near term, okay? Right now, we're talking about an approaching front that's going to bring about a big change with our temperatures. So today is the last relatively warm day across Hampton Roads. Yesterday, we made it up to 59. That was after a chillier day on Monday. Monday's high only 48, but we were a little warmer yesterday. Today, I expect mid-50s to upper 50s, and then colder air arrives. It's going to turn sharply colder for Thursday and Friday. We're looking at maybe a slight chance for a few flurries. It really doesn't look like too much here for early tomorrow morning, but we'll show you that. And the wind chills as we go later Thursday into Friday, they're going to continue to go down as it's going to be colder and a little blustery tomorrow into tomorrow night. I think early Friday, some areas could see wind chills down into the teens. So we do have some colder air coming. This is a national picture. We'll also discuss the severe weather outlook or lack of severe weather in the outlook. We'll talk about some things going on nationally with the forecast as well. So here's a look at the satellite images. We do have some colder air plunging in. Basically, we can kind of stop this map and put on the cold fronts, two of them dropping down into the mid-Atlantic region, bringing us that cool change. There is moisture out there, and as we get into the radar here in a little bit, you'll see some of the rain that is pretty heavy down across Georgia. If you're out west, just relax and enjoy the high pressure. You've got that in control. So some drier weather shaping up for that part of the country. Finally, after all those days and really weeks of excessive rainfall along the West Coast. Now high pressure's in control and you're getting a break. Here in Hampton Roads, though, we do have these fronts coming through and the colder air is poised to work into the region. We'll take a look at how the temperatures are expected to swing colder here as the Canadian model shows that colder air advancing down through the Ohio River Valley, upper Mississippi River Valley there, and back into the mid-Atlantic eventually. Our temperatures today, again, climbing up a little bit and then falling as we go into our Thursday. This cold air over the eastern Great Lakes, bitterly cold up in New York State. So if you're watching from that part of the country, bundle up, dangerous cold up that way. It's going to be milder along the southwest U.S. Now, as we continue Thursday and into Friday, our temperatures really chilly here in Hampton Roads. As I mentioned, a little bit blustery as well, so that's going to make it feel even colder. And yes, if you're wondering, there's another cold shot here showing up on the model by Friday up across the north central U.S. So more cold air set to plunge in, and that's why our kind of prolonged outlook, 6 to 10 day outlook here with the temperatures shows cooler conditions to the east, and it will be warming in the southwest. All right, that's relative to average. Let's take a look at the futurecast for Hampton Roads. Later today, I do expect some isolated to scattered showers. Now, this is the HER model. A lot of times I show the graph. They're both high-resolution models, but the HER is what we call a rapid refresh. It's updating every hour. When we take a look at the various outputs from the HER, you can see how it does project some isolated to scattered showers across Hampton Roads, especially south side and then into northeast North Carolina. Up on the peninsula, a few stray showers will be possible. Note the winds coming up from the southwest, pushing temperatures low to mid 50s to even maybe mid to upper 50s in a few spots. Certainly a possibility. There may be a few moderate pockets of rain, but for the most part, it should be fairly light, but enough to leave the ground damp in some places at times through the afternoon. This is at 4 o'clock. Again, additional showers still possible. Eventually, that'll swing offshore, and we should dry out into the evening. Now, what's interesting is tomorrow morning, yesterday and the day before, we were seeing some indication that there could be some light mixed precipitation across northern parts of the area. Initially, some rain, but possibly mixing or changing over to light snow. Here's the HER, and I will tell you the graph model also very, very dry. They just don't produce much. For this part of the forecast, this time period, the models have been trending drier. And not that we were ever really concerned about it, but the models were projecting at least some minor accumulations to the north earlier. That's pretty much gone. I do think there could be a few stray flurries kind of dancing as the colder air sweeps in, and you'll notice that's going to happen as the clouds start to roll out. Colder air will come in during the day on Thursday. So we're starting off with temperatures in the low 40s near the coast, a little cooler inland. But as the day continues and we get into the afternoon, instead of seeing the temperatures warming like we typically see, we're going to find colder air settling in and the temps trending down. And again, it's going to be blustery, so those wind chills will be going down later in the day. By 4 o'clock, mid-30s West Point, Melfa, Norfolk, upper 30s Chesapeake, 39 Elizabeth City and Virginia Beach. Colder air settles in, and then it gets really cold Thursday night into early Friday with those 20s and low 20s inland. We're going to see wind chills down into the teens by early Friday morning. So the air temperatures, again, combining with the winds, it's going to feel like it's in the mid-30s as we go through the day tomorrow morning. So this is Thursday morning, 8 o'clock. By noon Thursday, we're looking at a wind chill of about 31 around Norfolk, and then it's going to feel like it's in the upper 20s through the afternoon, getting even colder into early Friday. That's the near-term forecast for Hampton Roads. Now we're going to go ahead and get to some of the big weather stories we've been talking about, and we're going to revisit the snow chances a bit later on. Let's pull back out because the first place I want to take you, let's let the map catch up to us here. We're going into Colorado because there was just an important reminder again that we have to stay off the ice. In Colorado, a duck hunt turned into a life or death situation after a man fell through a frozen lake. Samantha Hildebrandt shares the story.
I was submerged in the water for approximately about 15 minutes or possibly more. As my waders began to fill up with water, the weight became unbearable. I was fatigued. I was wore out from struggling, trying to survive. And my head began to slowly sink underwater. And in that moment, a lot of people say they almost died in a scenario or lost their life. And I can truly say I began to take preparations in my mind for losing my life that day.
It happened Saturday during what was supposed to be a routine duck hunt. Matthew Carroll says the season was getting late and the ice was becoming unstable. An open hole on the lake filled with ducks drew him out onto the thinning ice. But as he tried to retrieve the birds, the ice cracked and Matthew fell into the freezing water. As Matthew struggled to stay afloat, his body began to shut down. By chance, an ice fishing tournament was happening nearby, bringing people to a lake that otherwise would have been nearly empty. That's when David Jimenez heard the screams of Matt's friend, screaming for help.
I mean, it just happened to be right place, right time.
David rushed in, risking his own life to pull Matthew from the icy water.
When he threw me that rope, it was the biggest sigh of relief that I've ever had.
Matthew was rushed to the Woodland Park ER, where doctors worked to bring his core temperature back up as he went hypothermic. He was able to go home that same day. Matt believes if it weren't for David, he wouldn't be here today.
And you know, frozen lakes aren't the only winter weather threat that we have been following. Over the weekend in Alaska, avalanches forced some residents to evacuate their homes. This one was caught on camera in Juneau on Friday. In some places, especially at ski resorts, there are special teams trained to come in and help after avalanches. David Muir introduces us to one pup who is now training to join those patrols in Colorado.
Tonight in Snowmass Village, Colorado, an incredible sight. The ski patroller and her new recruit. A 5-month-old golden retriever, Benji, getting a ride to work on the back of his trainer. And they've gone viral tonight. Benji is the newest Aspen Snowmass Patrol recruit, and they hope a future avalanche rescue dog. He's a good boy. For months now, his owner and trainer, ski patroller Louise Zemlicka, has been acclimating Benji to the slopes as part of their on-mountain canine program. Building his confidence, getting him used to the ski lifts, his vests, the snow, loud noises, uneven surfaces. Training to ride still on the toboggan in the wind and snow. And wearing goggles to protect his eyes. And going through intensive search and rescue training with the Colorado Rapid Avalanche Deployment Program, learning how to find lost skiers in the snow. If all goes well, they tell us he'll be ready by 2 years old. But look at this at 5 months, pretty comfortable already. And tonight here,
hi, David.
Benji and his owner, trainer Louise, on a hike. Turns out this is their well-deserved day off.
Our goal is to get him certified as an avalanche dog, and he will be searching for people involved in an avalanche rescue situation. If you're out skiing in Snowmass, come say hi.
I saw that story air on ABC News with David Muir and just thought that was so cool. And it really, I think, is a super cool reminder when we talk about these rescue dogs and these different folks that step in times of crisis with the weather. There's so much training that goes into it, and that little pup on the way. So really a cool little story there. I want to talk to you now about a new study that could help us better understand the relationship between the Earth and the moon. New research found solar winds have been carrying Earth particles to the moon for billions of years, and it's still happening. Those particles include volatile gases like oxygen and nitrogen, and researchers say the Earth's magnetic field, once thought to block the transfer, has actually helped guide the particles to the moon. Scientists were able to check their work by analyzing lunar samples from the Apollo missions. The study was published in the journal Nature Communications, Earth and the Environment last month. Really neat stuff there. All right, the day has finally come as we take a look at the International Space Station. The astronauts aboard the ISS will begin their journey back to Earth. NASA's Crew 11 launched on the SpaceX Dragon in August. They were set to return next month, but are now heading home early due to a medical concern with one of the crew members. The astronauts are expected to leave the space station around 5 o'clock this afternoon and will splash down off the coast of California just before 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's Thursday. Meanwhile, another NASA astronaut and 2 Russian cosmonauts will remain on board the ISS. They held a change of command ceremony before the departure.
This has been passed on for a long time. It's the key to the ISS. So, Sergei, do you accept command of the International Space Station?
Yes, I accept command of International Space Station. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Despite all the changes and all the difficulties, we're gonna do our job on board the ISS, performing all the scientific tasks, maintenance tasks here, whatever happens. And it's a big honor to be a commander of space station. Thank you, Mike. And I want to command the first command. Let's make a group hug.
This will mark the first medical evacuation from the International Space Station in its 25-year history. NASA has not identified the astronaut with the medical concern, only saying that they are now stable. And again, that splashdown expected tomorrow morning early. We'll be watching and we'll let you know how everything goes. All right, we are going to look at the world, kind of the bigger picture here, because new data shows 2025 was the Earth's third warmest year on record. Copernicus, a European climate organization, says the world is exceeding the maximum temperature threshold set under the Paris Agreement in 2015. Scientists have been warning exceeding the threshold, even if only temporarily, could have widespread impacts, including hotter and longer heat waves, more powerful storms, and more extensive flooding. Copernicus says the best tool available to limit the increase in temperature is to reduce emissions, and to do that, countries around the world must work together.
We are all on the same planet, and we need the data coming from all sorts of region, Asia, US, America, South America, Africa, and so on and so forth. So ensuring that data will keep flowing and will keep being made, taken observation, is really important to understand where we are going. So I think this needs to be safeguarded. On the other hand, if we look at the solution, it's clear that climate change is a global problem, and as such require global solution. And the global solution in terms of climate change means having a multilateral binding agreement on the emissions.
Now, in case you were wondering if 2025 is the third warmest year on record, what years take the top 2 spots? Well, as it turns out, it was 2023 and 2024. All right, we're going to take a quick break, just 2 minutes. When we come back, we're going to talk about the chances for more snow coming up over the weekend. And by the way, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, 13 News Now has you covered. This Friday, our 13 News Now weather team is taking over the Norfolk Admirals game, well, at least the intermissions, for education and STEM night. There's going to be a lot of fun on and off the ice. The team will be there challenging fans with Are You Smarter Than a Meteorologist? And will participate in a puck shoot. I'm going to be out there taking a shot at the net. You can also check out our Weather Impact Interceptor out on the ice. The puck drops at 7:05. We hope to see you there. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. One of the things we do here is talk about the weather going on nationally. Again, high pressure and control out west. We do have some unsettled weather back across the southeast. We'll get back to that in a moment. Notice our severe weather outlook. There's no areas that are outlooked right now for severe storms. So that is great news. And tomorrow and the next day, no severe weather in the forecast either. But we do want to take a look at where it's raining. I was also looking for excessive rainfall potential. Were there any areas that would be prone to flooding? Not really. Nothing identified by the Weather Prediction Center. There is some excessive, well, not excessive, but some heavier rainfall back across Georgia. You can see central Georgia and down to the south. This is south of Atlanta, and this has all been moving along to the east-northeast. A little bit of mixed precipitation back up into the mountains along the Blue Ridge and headed back up into North Carolina. Eventually, we're going to find our chances for showers as well. Augusta on the edge there, some heavier stuff probably passing just across the western parts of Augusta. You may see a few heavier cells around that area as well. Rain picking up for Nashville. You can see it is also approaching Huntsville, the line as it slides along, but the showers moving here. And you can see around the Charleston area, a little bit of a break right now. Cincinnati had some rain earlier. Pittsburgh is seeing the showers. Back across Michigan, it's some snow that's flying, and that includes snow around Chicago. So if you've got plans to be in the Windy City today, maybe you're traveling and flying through that area, or if you're living out there, you know, you've got some light to moderate snow, some heavier pockets from time to time, certainly a possibility. Southern parts of Michigan, back over towards Saginaw, you can see some snow coming off Lake Superior there around Marquette. The snow continues. What about Hampton Roads? Well, we've got our possibility of snow on Sunday, and some of you may have been waiting to this moment. So let's talk timing. 11 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the afternoon, snow is possible. Want to say stay tuned, and I'm going to explain why here as we go along. You take a look at two of the models. This is the GFS, and I've zoomed in to show Hampton Roads snow. This is 3 o'clock in the afternoon with the GFS. The Euro also producing the snow, a little more concentrated to the south, lighter amounts off to the north, but still both the Euro and the GFS, the global models producing snow for Hampton Roads on Sunday. Big picture here, you can see the moisture coming in, slight chances for showers overnight. As we get towards the weekend, you're going to see the chances going back up. And I just wanted to show you kind of the broad picture, some snow across the Ohio River Valley back to the Great Lakes, but watch the snow as it fills in right there, this moisture riding up. Question is, will this trough dig deep enough? Will there be enough cold air, and will it tap into that moisture? If it does, there could be some measurable snow here in Hampton Roads. So that's how this one plays out, the GFS. We'll take a closer look at that again, starting mid to late morning and then continuing into the afternoon, pulling away. It looks like our Martin Luther King Day will be nice. European model, similar situation. Chance for a few showers, mainly near the coast of North Carolina later this afternoon, but pulling away. Colder, a little break from the action Thursday into Friday. Saturday, you start to see this next round of moisture getting drawn up into the area. And again, some snow on the Euro Sunday late morning and through the afternoon. Again, Martin Luther King Day looking good. So if you've got plans for observances on Monday, things are looking okay. But you see how the snow is being produced here with the Euro, especially across North Carolina, but into Hampton Roads as well. So both of those global models pointing to it. As far as amounts go, the Euro has, well, 1 to 2 inches, maybe 1 to, say, 3 inches, some parts of northeast North Carolina. The GFS went from a model output similar to this all the way up to 4 inches or more, 5 inches in some areas. That would be really significant for this area. Don't know that we're going to see that much. Things could still change. There is still some uncertainty. So here's the bottom line. Models this morning are producing some more snow for the region. Questions still remain, so stay tuned. Things could change, and we could see some significant changes. We will definitely keep you updated. We've got 5 days to watch it, and we will let you know. Right now, we're going to say 30 to 40%, but we may bump those numbers up or take them down. That's why we encourage you to stay tuned, not only to the Weather Desk, but to 13 News Now, and you can always get the forecast on the go. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.